You're very welcome to our assembly this morning. It's for the senior classes in the school from third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And we want to say hello to you this morning and welcome you to this assembly. The assembly today is a combination of two thoughts, really. It's a story, first of all, the story of Hannah and her prayer to God, her special prayer to God for what she wanted God to bring to her in her life. And also, we have a thought about what her prayer was like, to think about what prayer is, and particularly the prayer that Hannah used on this occasion. So that's what we're going to do today. So let's get our class underway as we think about Hannah's story and her prayer. This is a story about Hannah and her husband Elkanah, and they lived in God's land many, many centuries ago. It's a story about a lady who wanted to have a baby. And although she had tried for a long time to have a baby, that hadn't happened for her in her life. And so she became sadder and sadder each day at the thought that she hadn't had a child. She suffered very much. Sometimes she wasn't able to eat, she was so distressed. And she realized that somehow she was going to have to see what was possible. And she was a woman of prayer. And she decided that the best way to reach out and to try and find a way to solve this problem for her life was to pray to God and ask for Him to help her. She used to go each year to the temple at a place called Shiloh. And while she was there, she would pray each time that God would bless her with a child. The priest at Shiloh at the time was a man called Eli. And Eli one day came upon Hannah as she was saying her prayers. He noticed something very noticeable about Hannah. First of all, as she said her prayers, she was crying and she was very upset. But he also noticed that she was praying in silence, that her lips were moving, but she wasn't actually saying any words out loud. Eli comes to Hannah and she tells him what her trouble is and why she's so worried and why her life has been so sad for her up until that moment. And Eli listens very carefully and realizes that she's someone who prays regularly to God. And he says that she's to go on her way and he's to pray that God's will for her life will be that she will indeed someday have a child. Time passes, and very soon Hannah realizes that she's expecting a baby, that her prayer has been answered by God, and that all the things that hurt her and made her feel unhappy in herself for many, many years are now at an end. She will have a baby, and she will be blessed by the child she will have. And she commits herself that if this baby is born and is healthy and well, when the child is old enough, she will actually give him back to God as a special gift. The baby is born, and she decides to call him Samuel. And Samuel, the name of Samuel literally means someone who is called by God. So Hannah has prayed hard. Her prayer has been answered. And she is continuing to fulfill her promise to God that because she has had a child, this child will one day go to work for God Himself. The reason why I stopped to think about this subject today is because in our confirmation classes over the last number of weeks, we've been thinking about prayer. And one of the different types of prayers that we have are what we call asking prayers. Asking prayers. Prayers that we're all well acquainted with. Prayers asking God to help us. Prayers asking God to help someone else, maybe someone who is sick. Prayer asking someone who is preparing to do an exam that they will be given encouragement and that they will be kept calm as they answer the important questions they have to answer. These are all asking prayers. We might be asking prayers for people we don't even know, people who are starving in our world today. We can be praying for them. Again, these are all asking prayers before God. There's a word for it. Asking prayers are often referred to as petitions. Petitions, where we ask God for something very special in our lives. And of course, it's important not only to have petition prayers, but to also have prayers that say thank you. These are known as thanksgiving prayers, so that when our petitions are answered, when God has answered our prayers for us, we always remember to return to Him and say, thank you for all the good things that He has done in our lives. That's what we're going to turn our attention to doing now at this moment. We're going to turn our attention, having been inspired by the story of Hannah and her prayers before God, which were so richly answered to her. We're now going to think about our own prayers before God as we make our prayers to Him now. First prayer I'm going to ask you to say this prayer along with me, please, this morning. Dear God, thank you for answering Hannah's prayer. Help us to understand that we can bring our asking prayers to you, and you will answer those prayers. Help me to remember to say thank you for all that you do for me each day. Amen. And the Lord's Prayer on this day. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. And the Lord bless you and keep you this day and forever. Amen. Thank you for sharing with us in our senior assembly this morning. Help us to be each day aware of the fact that we can approach God with prayers, asking Him for things that are so important, but we can also ask and remember to say the thank you prayers to God for all the good things that He gives to us each day. So may the good Lord continue to bless you and keep you, your families, your friends, all those at this time, especially as we come to that point where we hope to get back to school very soon, and where we also hope that when we get back, we will all be safe and well. In the meantime, please remember to wear your masks when you're out, to wash your hands very often at home, but also to remember to maintain your distance from other people so that together everyone can remain safe and well. The Lord bless you and keep you today and forever in your families until we speak again, which we will do so in another week's time. Goodbye now.